option, right? Everyone should have that option. However, there's been a long-held stigma. There's only 3 to 5% of mental health people in the mental health field are people of color.
Really?
So how can everyone get that healing? So what I said, right, is their ideas, insights, and inspiration are missing. Not only are they missing, they need to be seen and heard. So that's why we created a platform, not only that it's visual on purpose, right? I'm interviewing the person on purpose because you need to see us. And you
Mm-hmm.
need to not only see us, but you need to hear us. Because
And here we go. You're listening to the Kings Can Move On podcast with your hosts, Jason Stewart and Frank Rainey.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Kings Can Move On podcast again for another wonderful episode. You have reached the wonderful, magnificent, indubulous Frank the Tank, aka Big Reno. What's happening?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Kings Can Move On. I think you know who I am by now. This is Jay. I'm the other co-host of this magnificent podcast, as you just said. And we have a special guest tonight. We have actually my cousin, who I haven't seen in a very, very long time. But we have Mr. Rico Ricketon. Welcome, Rico.
hey,
What's
what up?
happening, brother?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good, man. How you doing today?
Good, doing good. Doing good. Excited to catch up with you too.
Yeah.
You know what? I think we started the last time, was it New Year's Eve in New York City?
Yeah, that's the last time,
Yeah,
which
and
was a long time ago.
that was over, I think about 10 years ago, wasn't it? So maybe.
Oh, yeah, maybe 12 even.
Yeah.
Damn, it's been that long since you went to New York?
Yeah, yeah. I went with my brother and his wife and sister and brought the New Year's Eve in and saw Rico up there. And then you moved to Chicago. And you've been in Chicago now how long?
Going on 10 years.
So there you go. Yeah.
You moved to Chicago from where?
From New York. From
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. So I've been here since New York.
Yeah.
You used to that big city life there.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't growing up, but I moved right after grad school to New York.
Okay.
And since then kind of preferred that. I did think about one point after like grad school going to Kansas City actually, because my family was there and Jason was there. And I remember I don't know if you remember this, you were like, don't, I'm leaving anyway.
Yeah, don't bring your ass here, man. You don't want these flowers. Shit.
Where'd you go to grad school at, Rico?
Ball State University in Indiana.
Okay. Indiana.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So you went from California to Indiana, or didn't you go to undergrad somewhere else?
Yeah, I went to undergrad in Indiana as well at a small private Christian school, and then which was called Taylor University.
Okay.
And then I went to Ball State immediately after for grad school.
Okay. All right. And then the big city, and then it's been yeah.
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 Yeah. Then that was something. Yeah. That's just been, since you just get adapted to that. I guess I always thought that I would end up in a bigger city. I preferred to live in a bigger city. So I think it's just where I wanted to be.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Something about the big city. I just like being in the big city. But but yeah. So what I want to get into, Rico, is your business that I looked up online, MH3. And first of all, tell me the name of what the MH3 stands for.
Sure. Um, MH3 stands for Mental Health Education of the Mind, Body, and Spirit.
Okay.
I like that. I like that. That's what that 3. Okay.
Thanks.
That's
Yeah.
tough.
Bringing you that 3.
Yeah. What made you think about that? What made you bring about that name? What brought about that name?
It actually was, you know what? It just was it started out, the name started out because it started out more of a format similar to this, and it was called Mental Health Half Hour. And it started it just as a passion project in the like really, really early days of COVID, even before COVID had spread here. Um, it just said, and we had done a program of Mental Health Half Hour, and I would interview experts. And at that time, there was around 7 experts, and I created a Facebook page to drive traffic to it. But it was really just to help people. And then we had 15,000 views of our videos that we did within this 3-month period.
Nice.
And I was like, I said to my husband, I'm like, I really want to do this full time and become a company. But yet I don't think the name Mental Health Hour fits, because we were doing half-hour segments, but it was during the pandemic, and we do hour segments too. And it was during like the early days even of lockdown. So people had longer time to commit to that. And so I was like, you know what? We're not going to be doing 30-minute segments. We need to come up with a new name. And my husband was like, Mental Health Half Hour. And he was like, MH3. And he just left the room. And then I figured out after that, oh, wait, mental health for the mind, body, and spirit. So that's, it's not as, not as much foresight as I would hope, but it was simply one name was something and we shortened it. And then we made a meaning out of it. That really helps guide us and lets people know who we are.
So you said you started that pretty much beginning of COVID or right before COVID, doing the videos online. So was there a driving factor that made you want to do videos on mental health and approach that, or what was the reason behind it for you?
Yeah, I think that, so it was, the exact date is March 15th, 2020. And watching news of social distancing in Italy. And I have my master's in biology with a concentration in neuroscience, and I've been in healthcare advertising for 21 years. So when I saw it, I understood what a gap was missing of a pandemic and people having to translate science, right? And because I do that every day of trying to take something complex and then simplifying it so that you can make proper healthcare decisions. So I knew that from just my professional experience that there was something missing, that more people were focused on creating their studio apartment into a gym than they were trying to learn about their mental health. And my real world experience is I grew up in a home, of domestic violence. So I remember how scared it was to being trapped at home with my dad, right? And that's a scary alternative. And yet now millions and billions of us are being stuck in our homes, right? And what could just happen, not only just a fear of domestic violence, but I also am gay, right? I'm brown, right? I've been told I'm broken so many times, right? And fighting through that. That
who told you were broken? Was it more family or friends or strangers?
I think it's more of strangers, right? Because those people, I think just over time, you learn to take your own voice. And that's what like coming out helps you do, right? Of like, you own your own voice. No one's going to speak on my behalf.
Right.
And so I think broken is just outside in media and telling you, right, that all things you do, like just think as being a Black man, right? Like the things that you're told that necessarily are not true, but yet there's a lot of people telling you that it is true, even though they're not saying it, right? The way things are set up is telling you that.
So I want to ask a quick question, man, and you hit on something coming out. So I've known someone who was unfortunately in the closet, been in the closet, since we had been kids. And as we had gotten to adults, that person had had another lifestyle, and I don't know if he was bisexual or just gay or whatever, but I'm pretty sure that he and I never had a personal conversation about it. But since kids, I had known. How did that affect you mentally growing up? Did you have a big s- announcement saying that you're gay, or how did that go?
No, I grew up. I mean, I'm sure I know that the signs were always there or whatever, right? At least I hope so. I mean, like, you can't be blind all the time, right? So, but for me, I didn't really come out until I was 33,
Oh,
I think
really?
it was. And meaning I had a separate life.
Yeah.
Like every gay person has a separate life.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like, you go out at different times or whatever it be, or you just going out with your friends, hanging out, and like your family's not with you, and your friends that you had before are not with you. And so it is creating two different lives. It doesn't feel like that. It just feels like, one life that you're much more closer to, that understands you in a different way.
Mhm.
And it took me a long time because my mom was very religious, and my mom basically raised me on her own. And her being very religious and being gay wasn't high on the list. And I think it was something she was always afraid of because of those signs, right? So she fought against it. But
I think our parents or those
yeah,
around you can see that, you know.
yeah.
They may not talk
Mhm.
about it, but they can sense it or see it, in little things you may be doing. They may be in denial though, right?
Yeah.
Not want to accept it though. If you're enjoying this podcast, don't forget to subscribe and like us on YouTube and rate and follow us on your favorite podcast platform. Um,
Which I think is bullshit. But
well,
I know.
it is, and um, yeah, people are closed off to a lot of things. Whether it's gender, whether it's
color, gender,
color, you know,
Nike, Reebok, fucking
Apple.
Adidas. Yeah, Apple,
Apple,
Samsung,
Samsung,
everything.
yeah, the whole thing. Are you got an
Everybody
Apple
got to
phone?
hate.
Oh, you
Hmm.
Samsung. Yeah, I am Samsung, and what above it? But
Right,
yeah.
right.
So Rico, tell me more about the company. I did go online, looked at it, and so it appears to be like a membership based type of or subscription based type of service, right? And is it where you subscribe and you get to see videos from health experts, or do you actually get to interact with someone?
So how we actually do it now, our primary is to businesses. So we we have over 50 health and wellness experts from diverse communities across the US. And their expertise, of course, ranges from the mind, body, and spirit. But we partner with corporations to provide their internal and external audiences with mental health education. So how that comes through is either they primarily it's through workshops we do in person or virtually that are customized to their workforce. We then as well provide access to their employees at a discount for our access to our platform so they can continue learning from our experts on the mental health education videos. So for right now, their interactions are limited to our workshops and in person, and then the subscriptions. But we're building up so that we can have a consumer facing where it's more it is consumer facing now, and a consumer can sign up and just learn. But the
Mm-hmm.
extra added value of being able to connect directly with our experts for one-on-one consultations, that's for our next iteration of our website.
Is this something that employers could sign on to and have it like in conjunction with their EAP, the Employee Assistance
Exactly.
Program? Okay, good
Exactly.
deal, man.
Exactly. It's really to sit in the middle of. So in the mental health landscape, there are three customer segments. There's mental wellness, there's mental illness, which is things such as EAP, right? Provider solutions. Like when you need access, you get it immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And then there is mental development, which is calm headspace where you're learning breathing exercises. And then in the middle, which is the largest, most underserved market, is mental wellness, which is learning how to catch changes in your mood, energy levels, and sleeping patterns on a daily basis before it becomes more serious. Now, that has been overlooked, right? No one on a daily basis, we ignore that until your body cashes in.
Right.
That's usually what happens.
Right.
Yeah,
And so that's where we
I
fit.
need that because I
For
Yeah,
real,
well,
me too.
hey, well, it's
Yeah.
free for both of you. Hey, you know my cousin.
Right. Now, and you said something about Headspace. I actually had the Headspace subscription. I
Yeah.
pay for that yearly. So
what is
it's what
that?
I meditate off of. It's a meditation app.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and this fits where when during lockdown, let's think about early days of lockdown, and at that time there's a pandemic coming, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is at that time people don't even understand what anxiety or depression is, or even how to incorporate a headspace, right, or a calm in these meditation apps into their daily practice. So what's great is about now is being able to use all these tools, because what we do is we want people to use calm and headspace as subscription even more, because that's mental performance, right? That's like you become like the all-star, right? You know how to breathe, do all these different things. You have a variety of different stuff. But we are just giving you the base things knowledge of like, whoa, I didn't even understand, as there are so many Black men that are feeling depressed, right? And this is why they're feeling depressed. Oh, crap. I didn't even think about that, right? And learning practical skills to remove that barrier.
Now you mentioned that you have 50 experts across the country in diverse backgrounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So was there a point of emphasis for you to actually focus on getting diverse experts for diverse communities? Because in our community, we have not really ever embraced mental wellness, mental health. So was that like emphasis for you?
I think it's coming around though.
It is. Yeah. I mean, where everyone now is, right? Like it's, um, but for me, the impetus really for it was more for the past 21 years. I have usually been the only executive or few executives of color or gay executive at really high performing healthcare firms. And you feel isolated. You feel not heard. You feel constant like this imposter syndrome of, if I say it this way, will it work better? Like even to the point where I've been in corporate America, and I very high up in corporate America, and this is not too long ago, but even having to consult with my husband, who is white, and being like, am I missing something here in this email chain? What's going on? And that's where it gets to a point where it's a reality. And what I realized though, when on March 15th, 2020, and why I did it was time for this gap, any gap, healthcare gap, not just because they're diverse, right? Not just because you need to hear from more Black people, you need to hear from more Hispanic people, not just because of that, but we need to hear from their voices, from these experts, especially for this mental health gap that exists, because we need to hear from their real life and professional experiences. That when you hear about anxiety, you need to hear from an expert that looks like you and says, you know what, these are stressors. These are different stressors for anxiety that are related to your race, that are related to your skin color. Right. And it validates that so that you can heal, because most of the time what prevents us from healing is not admitting that. Well, no, I'm okay.
Right,
I'm
good. But you know what? And that's the problem I have with my daughter, who, she goes through her challenges in life, but last year she had went through some issues to where I wanted to find her a counselor, and I wanted to make sure that, my daughter has always grown up around Caucasians from the time she was born to today. But she's had a few Black friends and my family, but she's never had that experience. And I just wanted her, when I found a counselor for her, she was an African American female that could relate to the experiences that she's had. So I feel you.
And what's when you think about it, right? think about everyone should have that option, right? Everyone should have that option. However, there's been a long held stigma. There's only 3 to 5% of mental health people in the mental health field are people of color.
Really?
So how can everyone get that healing? So what I said, right, is their ideas, insights, and inspiration are missing. Not only are they missing, they need to be seen and heard. So that's why we created a platform, not only that it's visual on purpose, right? I'm interviewing the person on purpose because you need to see us. And you need to not only see us, but you need to hear us, because that is to break through. There's a lot of barriers, right? Culturally, whatever it be, there's a lot of barriers that prevent us. But I really have seen that's been the breakthrough point, is people seeing themselves, right? And hearing also, hearing content that, whoa, that is me.
Yeah. And let me just quick plug. If you're listening to this podcast and you do enjoy it, please subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on your favorite Apple or Google or Spotify podcast platform. Thank you.
Like it, subscribe. Let's go. Shit, we ain't got time.
So,
We got some people to help.
so Rico, in 2020, March 15th, you had this epiphany to do this. Did you leave your corporate job completely and just do this, or are you still going back and forth between the job and this company?
It was at the time, it was like I did consulting and did back and forth, and then now it is full time, because we have corporate clients now. So I'm still doing the hustle, but at least some of that hustle is being paid for now. So that's helping a little bit. But for the first 2 years, it was doing two things at the same time.
Yeah, and I noticed on your website, your team. So your husband's actually part of the company as well,
Yeah,
right?
he is.
Okay. Is he also doing something else, or is it just this solely with the company?
No, he's doing something else. He has a full-time position. So he operates as our technical advisor, where
Okay.
he actually built our website.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
so we had to go low cost. We went from passion project to business,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and all we spent our money on was buying a new laptop for me so that I could have a computer for work. So
Right.
other than that, it's been pure hustle, and my husband doing weekends and after work and a lot on his end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What were some of the things you did to actually get this thing going and get your corporate clients on board? How did you get in the door with those?
So I think, and I hope that a lot of people get to hear this, because this is the most probably untapped resource. But a lot of companies are doing this now. But really, what changed the trajectory for us was we had the website, right, and really trying to do B2C, of trying to reach consumers and everyday consumers. And I really started struggling with, people are living in a pandemic, and you're trying to and then are they going to have money for this to prioritize for mental health? I think now probably people would, but back then I was like, we need to go more to businesses. So there was an opportunity that applied for CVS Health had an executive learning series for diverse suppliers, and it's something they have every year, and they pick, I think it's 15 to 20 companies each year to participate in this, and you learn how to learn how to attract, acquire, and retain Fortune 500 clients.
Nice.
So you learn everything, and they take you through everything they like to hear, how they like to. And so by the end of that, it's not as if they promise you business with CVS Health or any of that. It's really a program set up to where you do pitch to CVS buyers and everything at the end of your presentation. But it's really to be like, hey, we'd love to work with you in one day, right? But it takes a while to build that up, of like your capabilities, all this other stuff. But that's really how we started now getting into more corporate engagements.
Oh, Rico, I'll ask you real quick though. With that, with CDS, is that something that was only available to the mental health field, or was that available to all businesses, that all people who are looking to connect with other businesses?
It's open to all businesses that are certified as diverse suppliers.
Okay.
So they nominate, I believe, well, not I believe, because I still do talk to the CVS Health. It's a very welcoming community.
Hmm.
Um, but they what they do is they actually work with the different certification bodies like the National Minority Business Development Council, and
Nice.
that from those they send in nominations for this, and then they select from that the businesses. But it's an amazing opportunity, I would say. Of like I said, I've been in so many spaces that don't have people of color or that try to attract people of color. Like I've literally been in rooms, I mean, I'm sure everyone has, and I'm sitting in the front row and they say, we need more diversity in the executive suite. There's one here if you listen a little bit. But
Yeah.
most people look over me most of the time, so they don't see, like, and that's the thing, is like I'm not trying to convince you what I am or what I'm not,
Right.
but
Right.
you're not even curious enough. You just think everyone of here is the same. And
Yeah.
so I shouldn't have to stand up all the time and tell you I'm not. And the name Rico should stand out enough, but
Right.
doesn't
Right.
always.
Man, it's like no shit, Dick Tracy. It, it pisses me off looking at our team meetings, man, our company meetings. It's like, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, because Rena, you had something like that at your company, kind of was brought to your attention, right? About the diversity or lack thereof.
no, I brought it to their attention. I don't. You see, so my thing is, I don't appreciate if someone's saying that they're trying to fix something, but all you still see the same status quo. So don't tell me that you're working on the diversity and all I see are old to middle to young white men that are executives. You know, you're diverse. If now if it's 10 executives and you have and they're all white and then you have one female, come on, that's something needs to change here, because you're not speaking for the people, because that's not the people.
No,
Yeah, and you
no,
know,
and just imagine being ignored,
yeah,
right? And people just excel, and especially when you look at it in the workforce, right? We do our programs, at least we do. I always say to our clients, I'm doing a program, so that person that just came in late and just sat down, they're going to hear it because they
Hmm.
usually probably they would never be heard. Because I've been
Hmm.
to things like that, especially anything that announces diversity or whatever. You're like, what they got going today? It's
Right.
usually I go to all those things because I'm curious, and
Hmm.
I'm usually it's humorous at best, as you said, right? Like
Right.
just the things you hear and you have to laugh and go away, and they say everything's good, right? Depending on the day, it's good. But
They don't want to ask me.
like is that
They don't want
rhetorical?
to ask me that
Really,
question.
you really want to know my answer?
Yeah.
And you know, it's funny over the last couple of years. You know, you have COVID, then you had the whole Black Lives Matter thing explode, really, right? And you had so many corporations just looking for inclusion, and they wanted to jump on the Black Lives Matter
Mhm.
bandwagon per se, you know, and they wanted to say, "Oh, we support this and we support that." I'm like, okay, I hear you now. I want to see you continue on, and I want to see some real inclusion and see what you're really doing. I don't want you to just get on this bandwagon because it's hot right now. You know, it's
Yep.
the it thing. I didn't like the. It felt like it was an it thing to do. You know, and everybody like tagline, Black Lives Matter.
Hmm.
Yeah, they do. They always have mattered.
Yeah.
Shit. I mean,
So Rico, let me ask you this: with that being the case, how is it with the being in those corporate buildings when you're pitching your business to them?
You know what? Very different when you're the one controlling the narrative now.
Hmm.
And when you're sitting there and they can't look away. Like our decks, our capability decks, there is a black woman on the cover, right, with her natural hair, and
Hmm.
it's vibrant and orange, and it says, "Welcome to MH3,"
Nice.
right? you will be seen. And for
Mhm.
corporations, right, a lot of them, they're not diverse who you're talking to.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And a lot of them, though, are recognizing the gap and realizing we can't do this. And this isn't the problem that I've always seen, or I see from at least competitors of ours in the market, is cultural competency is not the answer to me. Cultural competency meaning I've developed something, right, that's for the general population, but now I've talked to some people, whoever those people are, and now this is good for you, Black people. This is
Mhm.
good for you, gay people. And what that's why I really feel for mental health, it's not about cultural competency of Black people respond this well to anxiety. This is how you should feel. It's really about hearing from that real world and professional experiences from these diverse experts so you can start to learn, right? Learn for yourself. You don't have to just learn from a stigma and be like, Black people over index for this. That doesn't
Mhm.
mean that means you're going to fall into that, right? It means, okay, I need to be extra concerned about this, just like you would be of physical health.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'll put one more little plug in here. Rico, I would love at some point to get one of your experts on this podcast. I mean,
Yeah,
Okay.
if it's possible,
absolutely.
whatever we got to do to make that happen.
Especially you said for parents, right? I have I've got a good one for parents, and
The
she's right in
parents,
Houston.
the parents definitely need it, but because they ain't none of them went to counseling,
Oh
but
no.
but no,
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
there's
know.
some
I
good
don't know
experts.
which genre or which
Yeah.
we just want. I know someone in that expert space, to come on here and talk about some things, just like you're talking about, just kind of expound
I
on.
want somebody to come up on here to try to talk Frank down from being Ice Cube off NWA and bring him back down to being Will Smith or something shit. Because I'm telling you, there's a lot of days that I want to get in there and I want to be uh, Malcolm X and I got to be Martin. So I, I, I want to. I'm telling you, it's
Peace,
one of
my
them
brother.
days.
Peace.
Yeah, it's one of them days that Malcolm is gonna walk in and Malcolm is gonna walk out.
Malcolm may need there's one of our experts, she's a spiritual healer. And one time what we talk about really, especially during Black Lives Matter, right? And George Floyd, during those conferences, I actually I interviewed her the day after George Floyd, that incident. And it was very healing because I was like, what is this? What are we going to talk about? How deep is this going to get? And it was interesting, and where we got is how to heal when others won't, right, get out of your way.
Mm.
Mhm.
And how do you keep healing, right? Because the reality is there are no safe spaces. There are no safe spaces. There are no safe spaces where you go and everyone's like, oh my God, you're a Black man? Oh,
Mhm.
welcome, come here. I understand everything. I'll never say something stupid to you, right? Or anything like that. It's brave spaces. Brave spaces are ones that call you in, right? I may not know, like CVS Health, that example I encountered with them. It was an experience where I felt, honestly, it was the most diverse group that I've been with, and they're all business owners, but I felt pulled in by everyone. By CVS Health, right? They didn't matter what color, if they were gay, not gay, whoever they were, they all reacted with pulling you in. Hey, I may not know, right? But
Mhm.
how do I help you? Rather than a safe space means like, oh, this has already been set for you. That's not the truth. For We just know that for
Yeah.
any person of color, right, or anyone that's felt different or been told they're different.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Cool.
Man, Rico, I am so proud of you. I really am.
Oh,
Like I said, we haven't talked in a long time, um, but I've known you've been very successful, and I know I'm not gonna get into it. But I know your background personally, and I know coming from that background, um, your success is to be applauded. It really
thank
is.
you, cuz. Thanks.
So yeah, I'm proud of you, and I love you. I really do.
Love you too, cuz.
And Frank, this just to go to show you, we have some dope people in our network, in our personal circle network. So we can get folks on this podcast just like Rico that have great stories. They're doing great things.
Hmm.
I want to thank you, Rico, for coming on. I really appreciate the support, cuz.
Thanks.
Rena, you got anything you want to close with or anything else?
Yeah, yeah, and thanks, Rico, man. We truly appreciate it, and we hope to connect in the future, man, with you and your business. Oh, before I give a closing word, can you give the name of your business again, website for people who would like to reach out, ways that they can reach out to you or your business?
Sure. Our website is mh3.co. And once again, that stands for Mental Health Education of the Mind, Body, and Spirit. And if people want to reach out to us, they can reach out at info@mh3.co.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
I'm gonna put that in
And
the link too.
thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll end it with saying, people, what's your therapy? Everyone has to have some type of therapy in order to cope and get through this journey that we call life. Now, some of this therapy may be this, some of this therapy may be women, some of this therapy may be men, some of this therapy may be exercising, but you have to find some type of outlet to release any stress that you have out here. Because man, it's gonna be stress every day. I didn't say every, I said every day. You're gonna experience some type of bullshit that's gonna fuck with you. Last week I was going through some shit that it was really messing with me. And it took me to figure out what my therapy was at that particular moment to become a better person. And that's all we're trying to strive to do in this day and age. So figure out what your therapy is and you'll become great too, like me.
Well said, sir. Well said. And with that, and oh yeah, of course, like he said, like him, you know. And
Like kings can move on, baby.
Yeah.
Kings can move on for sure. Big Frank, I'm Jay. It's Rico. Thank y'all for tuning in. We out.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed that episode, don't forget to subscribe and like us on our YouTube channel and rate and follow us on your favorite podcast platform.